Hello. See who's here. Slappy Fistwad here is here. Darth Dripwalker is here. Garland Farms is here. Garuda Legends is here. And Jane's Journey. So I thought I would give this live stream software a test here and talk about vitamin K2. So we're going to listen to Dr. Berg and see if he knows what he's talking about. I'm not sure that he does, but let's listen to what he has to say about vitamin K2.
K2 is about making sure calcium does not build up in the soft tissues, especially in the coronary arteries, also in the joints.
Can you hear him? Is Dr. Berg's voice coming through? I just want to make sure that the volume on the video is making it out. Okay, good. Thank you, Garuda Legends. All right, let's continue.
And then it takes that calcium and pushes it into the bone, so it makes your bones really, really strong. Now, as far as the amount, it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're taking a maintenance dose, especially in the coronary artery, stopping bleeding. Okay, so if you're bruising, for example, probably need more K1. K2, completely different. K2 is about making sure calcium does not build up in the soft tissues, especially in the coronary arteries, also in the joints.
So far, he's correct.
And then it takes that calcium and pushes it into the bone, so it makes your bones really, really strong. Now, as far as the amounts, it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you're taking a maintenance dose, let's say it's 100 micrograms, I would stick with that. If you want a therapeutic dose, go up to 400 micrograms. Now, I recommend taking D3 with K2 at this ratio right here.
He's recommending supplements. Of course, what's better than supplements is food. It's pretty well established at this point that vitamins, essential nutrients work much better when sourced from food than they do from synthetic supplements.
So if you're taking 100 micrograms, take 10,000 IUs of D3. If you're taking 200 micrograms of K2, take 20,000 IUs. Okay, the food's high in K2. All right, at the top of the list, NATO has the most K2.
Now look how disgusting this is, and he pronounced it NATO. I was corrected the other day. I guess it's pronounced NATO, but this I've heard is disgusting. But that's not all. We have to learn about the type of K2 that's here. So let's hear what he's got to say.
This is a fermented soybean product. Then we have goose liver. Duck.
Okay, so he's putting natto at the top of the list as foods that are highest in vitamin K2. And this, remember, he's talking about something that's supposed to be good for bone health. Let's go back. Supports bone strength. You see there? Supports bone strength. So let's let me share a different screen here. Here's another list. You'll see that pretty much everywhere you look, you'll see that natto is at the top of the list for sources of K2. And these are foods that are supposed to be good for bone health. But let me show you something here. Bear with me, I'm learning how to use this live stream software. Okay, so here are the two primary types of K2, MK4 and MK7. So the K2 that you get from animal products is MK4. The K2 that you get from natto is MK7. There's a difference between these two molecules. You can see the difference here. Of course, how does that translate practically? So let me open up another page. Here's the page. Here's a study showing that the vitamin K2 that is sourced from fermented soybean, natto, increases K2, but it's menaquinone 7 or MK7. That's relevant because MK4 and MK7 do not have the same bioactive properties. MK4 and MK7 are both forms of natural vitamin K2. MK4 stops and reverses bone loss. So MK4 is the vitamin K2 that's sourced from beef liver, duck liver, ground beef, steak, cheese, butter. It's all animal products. It stops and reverses bone loss, grows stronger bones, and reduces fractures more than 80%. The K2 that you get from natto is MK7, and it has never been shown to reduce fractures. The use of MK4 is supported by more than 25 clinical trials with over 7,000 volunteers. So obviously, Dr. Berg is failing to tell you that the K2 that is in natto is MK7, and it should not be listed with the sources of K2, the natto K2, should not be listed as a source of the type of K2 that stops and reverses bone loss and also grows stronger bones and reduces fractures by 80%. So is there any evidence to show that vegans are not getting enough MK4, vitamin K2? Well, let's see. Fracture risk. Fracture risk in vegetarians and vegans. Right down here where it says recent findings. course, they have to put seems like every scientific study that's published, they have to put their little PR statement in here. Plant-based diets are gaining public interest. That's not science. That's commentary. We don't need your opinion. So let's get down here to brass tacks. Studies that examine vegetarians and vegans together show a lower bone mineral density, but not always increased fracture risk compared to omnivores. So there's another, they're trying to do some damage control. But at least they're giving you the truth. It's a little bit buried, but you have to dig to find it. However, vegans consistently have higher risk of fracture at multiple bone sites, especially at the hip. So the reason that vegans, in my opinion, consistently have higher risk of fracture at multiple bone sites, especially the hip, is because they're consuming things like natto in their quest for K2, but they're not being told that, and most of them wouldn't even care because they're, they're in a cult. Veganism is a religion, it's a cult, and they probably look at broken hip as kind of proof of their faith in veganism. So let's pull up a quick list here of some of the foods, animal sources of K2. That's the wrong one. So the K2 in animal sourced foods is going to be the MK4. This is the one that actually does make your bones nice and strong. 2 to 3 ounces of chicken, duck, or goose liver pate, pasture-raised eggs, grass-raised butter or ghee. Ghee is clarified butter. It also has a very high smoke point, so it's probably the best fat to cook with. Chicken leg and thigh meat, organic beef or lamb liver. So you'll notice liver is listed here. Liver is also listed here. Liver is going to be your best source of MK4. So but it's also going to be found in just the ground beef and the sirloin steaks, just at considerably lower concentrations than you're going to get in the organ meats. See if we can pull up another relevant page. We're just coming back to this page just to speak again to remind you that the vitamin K that's in natto is MK7. MK7 has never been shown to reduce fractures. So when a vegan tells you that all the nutrients that are required for human health can be found in some plant or some fermented food, and they list natto as a source of vitamin K2, now you know that you can explain to them that the K2 that's in natto is MK7 and has never been shown to reduce fractures. It has absolutely no bearing at all on bringing those minerals needed for strong bones and teeth, escorting those minerals to where they need to be, which is also probably why people who aren't consuming enough MK4, in my opinion, are probably more apt to have calcification found in their arteries, as well as calcification in the joints, also known as what do you call it? Arthritis. So that's, I guess that's the lesson for today. I just wanted to do a short stream to test this StreamYard software. So we have 7 watching right now. Are there any questions before I get off? I guess we can go back and listen to a little bit more of Dr. Berg. Let's see.
At this ratio right here. So if you're taking 100 micrograms, take 10,000 IUs of D3. If you're taking 200 high in K2, all right, at the top of the list, NATO has the most K2. This is a fermented soybean product. Then we have goose liver, duck liver, chicken liver, beef liver. Now, I personally consume these in a pate. Egg yolk has a good amount of K2. Make sure it's pasture-raised organic eggs. Grass-fed beef has K2. Emu oil has K2. Hard and soft cheeses. Gouda cheese has a good amount of K2. Pepperoni, salami, pork sausage, grass-fed dairy products, including butter and sour cream, cream cheese has K2. And sauerkraut even has some K2. All right, guys, there's your quick video on K2. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you're liking this content, please subscribe now, and I will actually keep you updated.
So he said sauerkraut even has K2. But of course, sauerkraut also has the MK7, which, as far as I know, is completely not bioactive in human beings. My question for you is, do you think Dr. Berg is ignorant of these facts, or do you think that something else is going on here? Is he really that ignorant of nutrition? Let me know in the comments what you think. And in the meantime, I will get back to work here on the farm. We've had a deep freeze for about the last 5 days. It didn't get above freezing. And we had about 2 inches of ice on everything out there. It was a chore to keep the animals watered because the water kept freezing over. And right now it's a muddy mess, but there's a lot of work for me to do out there. So I'll get back to it. I may actually have a live stream a little bit later today around 6 p.m. probably with Jason Swartz. I'm going to have him on. We're going to talk about some food scarcity issues going on around the world right now and why that's happening. That said, I will let you all go. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate your support. I love you all, and goodbye.